Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Forrest with Rocky Mountain School of Photography, and today we're going to take a look at a little product called the Feelworld Livepro L1. This is a live streaming device from Feelworld, and for those of you who don't know, I reviewed a Feelworld monitor a couple years ago, and I've got one sitting right here on my desk, and I love them. I think they're a great company. They're a great budget option for those of you looking for some quality gear at an affordable price. Now, quick disclaimer, this was provided to me for free for this review. However, I'm not receiving any monetary compensation, and Feelworld is well aware that I'm going to say whatever I want in this review. Now, I want to break this review up into three chunks. The first is I want to talk a little bit about the problems with live streaming and what problems this thing tries to solve. Secondly, I want to talk about the good things about this little device. And thirdly, I want to talk about the bad things. I've timestamped all of the sections down in the description, so feel free to jump ahead. If you already know a lot about live streaming and just want to get to the review, you can skip ahead down below. For those of you who don't know a lot about live streaming, let's talk a little bit about the problems involved. Live streaming always has a source, not always, I shouldn't say always. Live streaming needs some sort of device to send a signal out to your live streaming platform. I've done live streams on Facebook, on Instagram, on YouTube, on Zoom, on Teams, on pretty much every live streaming platform because we're a photo school. We do online classes and meetings with people and all kinds of things like that. So I've done a lot of live streaming, and in that time, most live streams, most people use a webcam, whether that's built into your computer or that's elsewhere. A webcam's a great way to get better video quality than what might be built into your computer. If your computer doesn't have one built in, you need a webcam to just get video itself. So webcams are awesome, but a lot of times you're going to want to increase your quality with a nice DSLR or mirrorless camera. The problem is that DSLRs and mirrorless cameras don't always have a way to connect them to your computer in a way that they can be used as a webcam. And that's where this device comes in. Now, there's a myriad of ways to do this. In the past, we've used things like capture cards. This is what's called a capture card. On one end, it's got a USB port. On the other end, it's got an HDMI port. And it takes the signal from the camera's HDMI port and it converts it to USB for your computer to use. Well, the Livepro L1 is essentially 4 capture cards all in one. You can see we've got 4 HDMI in ports and 1 HDMI out port. So this little device can take 4 cameras' input signals, and you can switch between them with the 1, 2, 3, 4 buttons on the top of the device. And that is just fantastic. It takes 4 of these old capture cards that I used to use and builds them into one unit. Now, I know what those of you who are familiar with live streaming are thinking. This looks very similar to the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro. And you would be right, they're pretty much the same device. The difference is the ATEM Mini Pro costs considerably more. This is about $600, whereas the Livepro L1 is about $300. The differences, though, are not just at the price level. The Livepro L1 actually has some nice features that are not present on the Blackmagic device. And with that said, let's get into the actual review portion. Let's start with the things that I really like about the Feelworld Livepro L1. First is the price. It is very affordable. To get 4 capture cards, as well as audio capture, as well as a screen, more on that later, as well as all the rest here for the $300 price tag is absolutely fantastic. Back in the day, meaning 4 or 5 years ago, not even that long, 2 or 3 years ago, to do a nice live stream with this level of complexity, you needed a computer running Streamlabs OBS or OBS, you needed 4 capture cards, you needed an audio USB audio capture device, you needed a lot of stuff. And the fact is, this actually replaces your computer in a lot of cases for a live stream. Now, to test this thing, I actually had this in use all last week for our professional intensive program. We're live streaming parts of our professional intensive program because some students had to stay home after spring break. And this thing worked perfectly. So we're talking 8-hour days, 5 8-hour days, one after the next, being used with multiple camera inputs with instructors who are wearing microphones, and it was absolutely perfect. So I have no qualms as to the quality of the product. It held up to that, which is a pretty strenuous use case for day after day after day streaming. So that's awesome. Very durable, seems to work very well. Also, like I said, it's very affordable. Some other amazing things about it are, for one, the screen. We had previously been using the Blackmagic ATEM Mini in our live streaming setup in our classroom, and everyone who used the Feelworld after switching to it was so happy to have the screen. The fact is, if you want to see a preview of which one of your cameras is seeing, one of your 4 inputs is seeing on the Blackmagic, you need to actually have this plugged into an external monitor. And that's easy. There is an HDMI out port, but the Feelworld has an HDMI out port as well, and it has a built-in screen. So if you don't want to use the external monitor, you can just use the screen right on here to monitor what the 4 inputs are looking like and very easily punch between cameras. On top of that, the Livepro L1 does, although a little gimmicky, have a T-bar. Now, those of you who don't know what a T-bar is, let me zoom in so you all can see. This is a T-bar right here, and you can slide this T-bar left and right and actually use that to do fading transitions in a custom sort of way. So that's been really awesome too. It's a little gimmicky. Obviously, the faster you slide it, the faster it fades, and you can do the slow fade or a half fade and back. It's not super awesome, but it is a nice feature to have that is not present on the ATEM Mini. And also, this isn't supposed to be a comparison review or beating up on the ATEM. If I was gonna do a professional job, I definitely think the ATEM has some nice things about it. Again, more on that in a little bit. But I do think it's a good comparison to draw, because if I was in this space going to buy one of these devices, by the way, I did buy the ATEM Mini, I would have a tough decision on my hands. I would have to really think deeply about which one I was going to purchase. Another great thing is that the screen on the Livepro L1 allows us to change settings on the device on the fly. One thing that I had to change was, by default, the Livepro is set to use the audio input from each camera as the audio that it feeds out of the device and into your computer. And we were using an external microphone. So I had to go into the settings and just tell it to prefer the mic port, which is right, let me find that for you guys right there, the audio in port. Get that nice and big right there, the audio in port. I had to tell it to prefer that over the actual HDMI audio signal coming in, because I wanted to use the microphone audio and not the audio from the camera. So just being able to change effects there. It has picture-in-picture mode. It has a wide variety of transitions. It has all of those different things that you would expect from a super quality live streaming device. Okay, with all the good stuff, let's get to the few negatives that I see about this device. The first is the quality of the knobs. This drove me crazy. There are 2 adjustment knobs on the Feelworld, and both of them seem to be really bad at making nice clicks between menu options. When I was trying to scroll through menus, I would twist this one click, the knob one click. It's got little click stops. I'd move it one click and it would move me down 2 menu items or 3 menu items, or sometimes it would just keep scrolling through the menu repeatedly. I'd move it up one click, it would move up 1, 2, or 3 clicks. So the knobs are absolutely terrible. I really don't recommend it. Operating the menu on here, while you can do it because it's got a screen, is a pain. As much as I think there are too many buttons on the old version, much less the new version of the ATEM Mini, I do think there's something to be said for using buttons instead of an actual click knob when it comes to settings. It's easy, you see it, you push the button, and you know you've turned on or off what you're trying to turn on or off. So the knobs, I don't like them. Second thing, there's only one audio input, or a mic port, as you might call it. We've got an audio in and an audio out on the side, which means you can only plug in one microphone. The ATEM has 2 microphone inputs, which is awesome if you're doing some sort of interview situation in a live context. You can mic both of your people, plug the microphones into mic 1 and mic 2, and you don't need any sort of additional audio hardware to make that happen. I do wish there was another mic port. On the topic of ports, the USB port is a pain in the butt. They used USB-A as their USB style. So you need to use this weird custom cable that people just don't own. You can see it's USB-A on one side. Let me hide my face so it focuses. It's USB-A on one side and USB-A on the other side. No one owns these cables, so I don't really understand that choice. The ATEM Mini, again, comparatively uses USB Type-C, which is just the standard these days. So I wish that used a Type-C port, not a double-sided A port. I just don't have these lying around. I don't have A to A. I have A to B, I have different things like that, but it's just a rare cable. So I wish that was changed around. But you guys, other than that, this thing is awesome. Like, truth be told, those are the only negatives to this device. I guess one other thing to mention was that there's no on-off switch, but the Blackmagic doesn't have one either. So to turn this thing off, you literally just unplug it and that powers it off. Little bit of a pain, but I do understand the omission, as having an on-off switch that can be bumped accidentally during a live presentation would be worse than just unplugging it itself. So I understand that one. Overall, you all, this is kind of how I would summarize this. If you are in the market for doing live streams in a very affordable way that uses more than one camera, I think having a switcher like this is a fantastic way to do it. It makes live streaming on your own as a solo person with multiple cameras super possible. You can just punch camera 2, punch camera 3 really easily. On top of that, you can feed your computer or another computer in as one of your inputs, and you can actually capture the screen of a second computer and punch it out to your main streaming computer. It's fantastic. Couple that with the fact that this can actually manage streams itself. It can publish directly through its LAN port. That's super fantastic. It's just a really great device. If you are just gonna live stream with one camera, picking something up that's a little cheaper, like just a standard capture card, can be a great option. You can get these for about $100 instead of buying a whole switcher device. But anyway, super great product. Thank you to Feelworld for sending this along for the review. Let me know if you all have any questions down in the comments. If you like this video, hit that like button. If you have a question, like I said, leave it in the comment section down below. Hit subscribe to stay up to date for future videos, and I will see you all in the next one. Thanks for watching.